Good morning, fourth graders. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday. It is Wacky Writing Wednesday. So while I am connecting our PowerPoint presentation, I want you guys to go ahead and grab your writing apparatuses, your notebooks from yesterday, your notes that you've been taking so that we can have a wow day with our lesson. So go ahead and do that, and I'm going to share our PowerPoint. There it is. I'm going to share it right now, and I'm going to begin it. There it is. So you guys, we're starting with language arts. Language arts. I love that picture of this young man right here. He looks so serious in his test. So we're going to begin with language arts. We have been working on ordering our adjectives for a few days now. So if you're just coming in and you're starting out with us this week, ordering of adjectives. Adjectives are words that we use to describe a noun, you guys. And we talked about this in class, but I wanted to spend some time during this situation to review what we've been talking about in class, really get it honed in your mind. So therefore you have time to grapple with it and ask any questions that you may have about it. So again, adjectives are words that we use to describe nouns. And there are so many different ways that you can describe a noun. You could describe its color, its size, its texture, the material, the shape of it. However, in the world of language arts, I love language arts. In the world of grammar, I love proper grammar. Those words must be placed in a particular order. They must be placed in a particular order. So what I provided to you guys here, and if you have not copied this, make sure you do this now. What I provided to you up here, I provided the order of adjectives with what we're using. There are so many ways that you can describe an adjective, but what we're doing for fourth grade in our classroom, these are the adjectives that we're using. This is the order that we're using to make sense of what we're doing. So don't forget, I like for you to annotate. What do I like for you guys to do? Annotate. It's the best way of taking notes, the best way of remembering something, the best way of expressing your understanding of a particular concept. Seriously, it is. So with the order of adjectives, that does not change. I am going to annotate the order of adjectives by placing the number of order above each of the descriptors, and that's going to help us with sentence number one, right? So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to put number one over quantity, number two over quality and opinion, number three over size, number four over age, number five over shape, number six over color, number seven over nationality, origin, or material, and then my last qualifier, purpose. So my first sentence, I'm looking at sentence one. So go ahead and look at your screen, look at sentence one. And this sentence starts with Jalen. Hi, Jalen, good morning. How are you? So we're using Jalen today. I am going to read the sentence. I'm going to take a pause after I read the sentence, and then I want you to read the sentence out loud to your parents, your siblings, whomever's around you, to yourself. It doesn't matter. We are definitely still working on our fluency. We're definitely still working on our automaticity. So I want you to read out loud. Sentence one says, Jalen went home and sat on a wooden, comfortable old bed. Number one says, Jalen went home and sat on a wooden, comfortable old bed. So what we need to do is pay very close attention to the adjectives. and place numbers above the adjectives that correlates with the numbers in our notes here, right? So what I am going to do is model how that looks. I'm going to change my pen color now. I try to do this a lot, but it doesn't work all the time. But hopefully today it works. Okay, so I think I have it. My first adjective is wooden. And if I look here at my order of adjectives notes, I know the word wooden is a material, right? It's wood. So wood, cloth, silk, lace, cotton, those are all materials. And wood is a particular material. So above the word wooden, I'm going to put number 7. Oh, it's still red. Wow. So I'm going to put the number 7 there because it correlates with the number 7 in my notes above. Wooden is a material. I put 7 up here, so I'm going to put 7 above the word wooden. My next adjective is the word comfortable. Comfortable, something that's comfortable. Where does that word fits in my order of adjectives? Where should I place that in my order of adjectives chart above? Well, comfortable. I think something that's comfortable. Jalen may feel that it's not. That's something that can be debated. That's something that can be argued. So comfortable is actually an opinion. So I'm going to put 2 over here. Opinions are any words that you could debate, any words that someone else may say, no, I don't think that it is comfortable. I don't think that it is soft. I don't think that it is hard or stern. Anything that could be argued would be considered an opinion. Opinions are basically your feelings, right? So I'm going to put a number 2 above the word comfortable because over here with my order of adjectives, I put a 2 over the word of opinion. That's how it's placed in my order of adjectives. So again, right now, we're annotating our words. So therefore, when we rewrite our sentence, we have the proper order for each of the adjectives. My last adjective that I have, old, right? Old. That should be simple. You guys call me old all of the time in the classroom. So we know that old, whenever you guys are using the word old, we're referencing someone's age. We're talking about an age or something. We're referencing an age. So if we're talking about an age, if we're referencing an age, we see here the word age, and what number does it have? 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put the number 4 over old. After doing this, now it's time for us to rewrite the sentence in its correct order. And once you put the number above each of the adjectives, now you know which word we would use first. Use numerical order, sequential order. So 2, 4, and then 7. That's how you will rewrite it. Yesterday, I noticed that some of you, not all of you, so don't fret. Don't get nervous, don't get upset about it. But I'm noticing that some of us are not placing the commas after each adjective. You guys know we place a comma after our adjective. So make sure you are placing your commas after each adjective. So how do we reread this sentence? Well, the proper order would be think time. Jalen went home and sat on a comfortable, comma, old, comma, wooden bed. So the proper read would be, Jalen went home and sat on a comfortable, comma, wooden, Jalen went home and sat on a comfortable, comma, old, comma, wooden bed. Jalen went home and sat on a comfortable, comma, old, comma, wooden bed. So that would be the proper way of writing that sentence. So go ahead. I am asking you to complete sentences 2, 3, 4, and 5. I definitely want you to include sentence 1 with your work today. And also, if this is still a struggle for you, go ahead and copy the order of adjectives little notes up here with the numbers. Let me see that as well. Let me see that you're working that out as well. So again, today when you submit your work, I want you to complete questions 2, 3, 4, and 5. I am looking for the annotations. And if this is something that you're still having concerns with and still struggling with, I want you to go ahead and copy this right here as you see it. Copy it as you see it. Just pause the video and take your time and copy that with the numbers above it. This will definitely help you guys. So, you guys, we have been doing an author study for 2 authors. Last week we worked on Shel Silverstein. And what I thought was going to be such an amazing part of our work, let's conduct author studies. So Shel Silverstein wrote the first children's book to appear on the New York Times bestseller. So every day I like to provide you with a fun fact about the authors that we're using. So Shel Silverstein, and remember we used Shel Silverstein last week. So we're still going to learn more facts about he and Langston Hughes this week. What I found to be such an interesting fact was that he wrote the first children's book to appear on the New York Times bestseller list. Oh, wow. That is awesome. And don't forget, you guys, he is my favorite children's poet. He's amazing. Good job, Shel. This week, we're exploring poems written by Langston Hughes, Harlem Renaissance. So one fun fact about Mr. Langston Hughes is that he wrote his most famous poem when he was just a teenager. He wrote his most famous poem when he was a teenager. Oh, wow. You go, Langston. That's amazing. Our I can statements today. What is it that we're doing today? What am I expecting for you guys to be able to master today? So, our I can statements today. By adding an adjective, a noun, and the words like or as, scholars will write their own series of similes to answer a single question: what happens when your teeth aren't brushed? So we're still working with similes, and today being Wacky Wednesday writing, ooh, you guys will do some writing today, and we are going to write our own similes. And our focus question that we're going to focus on is what happens when your teeth aren't brushed? Our essential question: why do people write poetry? Why do people write poetry? So remember, we're going to continue exploring that question throughout this unit as we are learning about different poems. So similes and metaphors. We're focusing on similes and metaphors. Let's review. Yesterday we talked about similes. Let's review similes and metaphors. So similes and metaphors, it's a figurative language, a figurative way to compare one thing to another. So with similes, you use the word like or as to do that, right? So you use the word like, you use as. Whereas metaphor, you're essentially doing the same thing. You're comparing one thing to another, but you're not using the word like or as. So let's look at the two simile, the example here. I have one simile here, and then how does it compare to that of a metaphor? So if we look at the first example, it says, her heart is like gold. So I am comparing someone's heart to that of gold, right? So you begin thinking through, like, what is gold? What are the qualities of gold? Well, gold is stern, gold is beautiful, gold is valuable. So we're saying that her heart is valuable. We're saying that her heart is solid. We say that her heart is something positive, right? Now that's a simile because I use the word like. That's your cue right there, that it's a simile. I'm comparing a person's heart to gold, but because I use the word like in there, we know that it's a simile. So as a metaphor, you don't use the word like or as. You don't. You will simply just say, her heart is gold. And you see, I'm missing the word like. But a metaphor as a simile compares one thing to another, right? So that's what we're doing. We're comparing someone's heart to gold. In similes, we use the word like or as. In metaphors, we take it away. There's no need for it in metaphors. So let's look at our second one. The world is like a stage. In order to best understand this simile, we need to understand, like, what am I trying to say looking at that last comparison? Stage. What do we know like stage? Well, that's theater, directors. When you're on stage, when someone acts, it's fake, it's fictitious. There's a lot going. It's dramatic. It's emotional. So the world is like a stage. What am I saying about the world? Well, there's a lot of things going on in the world like there would be on a stage. Lights, actions, cameras, people in your life, dialogue, quotation marks, exclamations. So there are so many ways that we can describe the world. In this particular sentence, I said it's like a stage. The world is like a stage. And I know that it's a simile because I used the word like. That's the key right there to say, oh, that's a simile. But if I wanted to rewrite it as a metaphor, I would yank that word like out and simply say the world is a stage. Although the meaning is the same, I took out the word like and made it a metaphor by saying the world is a stage. So I want you guys to pause the video and continue with he eats like a pig, you are like a rock, your eyes are like sunshine, poor as dirt. And I want you guys to have conversations with your parents regarding similes and metaphors and explaining what each sentence means. So I want you to pause the video and continue dialoguing about the following examples. He eats like a pig, you are like a rock, your eyes are like sunshine, poor as dirt. And determine what makes it a simile and what makes it a metaphor. And once you're done, pause the video, then unpause so that we can continue with today's assignment. Okay, so today we're continuing with Langston Hughes. Like I've said, this entire week we're going to be reading poems with Langston Hughes, and we are reading Harlem. And yesterday I asked you guys to identify all the similes for the poem Harlem, but also write what it means. So I definitely want to spend this time right now going over the different similes. We had 5 similes for the poem Harlem. The first simile, we talked about this on yesterday, is in line 3. He says, dry up like a raisin in the sun. Well, what does that mean? Dry up like a raisin in the sun. What does that mean? Well, it's suggesting that the dream is merely forgotten over time. So if if you put something out to dry in the sun, you forget that it's out there and it dries up. Like a raisin in the sun. And basically, that simile is suggesting that the author is telling us that dreams that are deferred, you forget it or you postpone it. That's what deferred means. You put it to the side. What happens to it? Well, it just dries up like a raisin in the sun. It's merely forgotten over time. Our next simile, so go ahead, you guys, grab your notes from yesterday, your work from yesterday. We're going over our work from yesterday. So our next simile was fester like a sore. I see the word like. We're talking about a dream deferred. And we know that deferred means to postpone something, right? And we're answering this question in a poem. So Langston Hughes feels that a dream deferred, a dream that's postponed, festers like a sore. What's a sore? Well, if you scrape your knee, you hurt yourself when you're out playing, you have a little scab. Well, a sore is something that's aggravating. It's something that's uncomfortable. You have to clean it. You have to get a Band-Aid for it. It sometimes bleeds. It hurts often. So Langston Hughes is saying that the dream deferred, the dream that you put to the side, it festered like a sore. Sore is something that's not positive. So I put as a simile, fester like a sore, because I see the word like. And Langston Hughes is suggesting that it eats at you constantly aggravating you because it has not been obtained. Think about your own sores. How often you ask for band-aids. Well, you ask that because it's constantly are aggravating you, right? It's bothering you. It's hurting you. It's probably bleeding. So a dream that's not a dream that is deferred, a dream that you do not act on or you do not pay attention to, if you just put it to the side, that dream, according to Langston Hughes, is a constant reminder. It's an aggravation. It needs to be attended to. So he says it festers like a sore when you put it to the side. Stink like rotten meat. I know that this is an adjective, I'm sorry, as a simile, because it used the word like, and it compares a dream deferred. So again, a dream that we postpone, a dream that we delay, a dream that we put to the side. Langston Hughes compared that to rotten meat. When you do that, when you put your dreams to the side, when you defer your dreams, it stinks like rotten meat. So here on my paper, I put it stinks like rotten meat. But now I need to explain what that means. So that's essentially what we're doing. You guys didn't just write the simile, you wrote what it suggests, you wrote what it meant to you. And the best way to determine what it means is look at the simile itself and discuss what that means. And that will help you to understand what the author is trying to say. So, rotten meat. What do we know about rotten meat? Well, if you sit some meat out, ask your parents, I promise you, ask your moms. If you sit meat out, what happens to it? Whew, it smells. Oh, goodness, it stinks, right? You can't eat it. Often, sometimes if you leave it out long enough, it becomes like the texture will change, and then you'll have worms, maggots. It's just gross, right? You'll have maggots in your meat. So definitely want to compare what Langston Hughes, or not even compare, but really think through what Langston Hughes is talking about when he mentions a dream deferred. What is he saying when he says it stinks like a rotten meat? If you put your dream to the side, what happens? Well, it stinks. So here I have stink like rotten meat is a suggestion that the dream is making you mad because it has not yet reached. It has not yet been reached. So when you put your dreams to the side, it upsets you. It's like rotten meat. Rotten meat upsets me. It upsets anyone. You can't go back to rotten meat, right? So what I want you guys to do is to look at the fourth and the fifth simile and compare your response to that, the responses to Langston Hughes in the simile. Pause the video and go over the next two similes that's in the poem and compare what you wrote for the explanation, the suggestion for each of the simile. If you need to go ahead and make changes to your work, go ahead, that's fine. So today we are writing our own simile poem. You guys know today is Wacky Wednesday. That's my wacky look. Wacky Wednesday. So today you guys are writing your own simile poems and we're answering the same question. What happens when your teeth aren't brushed? So we're looking at the verbs here: charge, clash, weaken, howl, sting, decay, sour, wither, and ooze. So you're going to copy this poem right here, and you're going to describe what happens when your teeth aren't brushed. And I start with, do they charge? Do they clash? Do they weaken? Do they howl? Do they sting? Do they decay? Do they sour? Do they wither? Do they ooze? So you have to begin thinking through what other objects can you use that clash, that weakens, that howls, that sting, that decay, that sour, that wither, that oozes. So I gave you the first one. Definitely change that. You can use my example if you want to, that's okay. But I charge you or I challenge you to come up with your own. So, what happens when your teeth aren't brushed? I said, do they charge like a bull? We know that bulls charge, right? They're infamous for charging a bull. So I used the verb charge and I had to begin thinking through what else charge. What else can I use to describe teeth that are not being brushed? Well, do they charge like a bull? Now you are responsible for finishing our simile poem. Do they clash like a? What clashes in your mind? Right? Think of anything that you can use to answer that question, but you have to make sure that if you say the word, well, we're all using the word clash and weaken. What clash or weaken in your mind? What hows? What stings? What decay? What sours? What wither? What ooze? And you can complete your simile poem. So I gave you the first one. What happens when your teeth aren't brushed? Do they charge like a bull? I challenge you to change that. Do they clash like a? Can't wait to read what you guys have. So that's your assignment today. Remember, you have your language art sentences. You have to annotate that. Make sure you are annotating. Please, please, please annotate with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did the first one together, but I definitely want you to include the first one in your submission, in your work. So make sure you do the first one. I know that we did it together, but I definitely want to see that in your notes and you do the other four. Now, our comprehension, we're writing our simile poem. So I want you to write this poem and determine the proper way of expressing what happened when teeth are brushed. And I gave you the verbs. I gave you the charge. I gave you clash. I gave you weaken, house, sting, decay, sour, wither, ooze. So whatever you choose, make sure it's something that charges. It's something that clashes. It's something that weakens. It's something that howl, sting, decay, sour, wither, and ooze. So I am available from 3 to 9. If you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up on Dojo or simply call me, you guys. I am here for you. So I definitely want to shout out the following students. I'm not going to read the names, but I want you to look at it. Shout out to our scholars. Come on, you guys, come through, come through, come through. Great job. Awesome. Don't forget when you're submitting your work, have your mom to take a picture of your assignment and post it in Dojo. So in Dojo, find your name and then click your portfolio. There's the word portfolio. And then paste your camera, just upload your image into Dojo under the portfolio. If that is acting weird, have mom to just inbox me the image. So I'm finding that many of our parents are messaging the images to me, which I have no problem with, just as long as we get them out. So let me know if you need anything. I'll see you guys on tomorrow and have a wonderful, wacky Wednesday. Bye.